Okay, on your assignment, you're going to have some problems that ask you about this. This says write an equation in standard form of the horizontal and vertical line that pass through the point. Okay, and the point is 1, 3. So I want to know the horizontal line that passes through this point, which would be the one that goes right along like this. And I want to know the vertical line that passes through that point, which will be the one that goes like this. Well, the easiest way to do this is the horizontal line. Okay, we know that horizontal lines always have a y equals equation, so we just need to put y equals whatever the y is. So the horizontal line is y equals 3. And the vertical line is x equals, and it's x equals whatever the x value is. In this case, it's 1. And those are our two equations for horizontal and vertical lines that pass through that point. So basically, our horizontal line is just whatever our y value is, y equals 3, and our vertical line is whatever the x value is, x equals 1. Alright, let's go on to another example. It's just a quick review of equations of lines. Okay, so what I want you to do on this, and I'm going to check this in your notes, is I want you to fill out all of the equations that we've learned, okay, with their variable forms. So for example, I'll give you slope-intercept form. It's y equals mx plus b. Okay? Then, I'll give you an example. Vertical line, the one with an undefined slope, a vertical line is up and down. That's an x equals some number. Okay, so we'll just put x equals any number here. I want you to go ahead and fill in point slope form, standard form, and a horizontal line. Okay, what those would look like in variable format here. Okay, just for remembering, you can use that as like a study tool. And let's go on to our last example. It's a good word problem. Okay, this word problem says you are in charge of buying prizes for the school raffle. One 8GB iPod Touch is $190, and one 32GB iPod Touch is $275. You have about $1,000 to spend on the prizes, and you don't have to worry about tax because your school has a tax-exempt card, so no tax involved. Okay? We want to write an equation that represents the different numbers of 8GB and 32GB iPods that you could purchase. Well, I'm going to start us with the verbal model here. We know that the price of a 8GB times the number of 8GB we buy is going to equal the total price that or the amount of money we spent on 8GB. And we're going to have to add that to the price of the 32GB times how many 32GB we get. Okay? Well, if we add those two things together, we're only buying two different types of iPods. That's going to equal the total money we can have. Alright? Well, now all we need to do is we need to assign variables to our different types of prizes. So I'm going to assign x means the number of 8GB, and we'll say that y equals the number of 32GB. And this is the good thing about standard form, is before we have had trouble writing equations in two different variables. Now we can go ahead and do that with standard form. Okay, so the price of an 8GB was $190 times the number of 8GB. Well, that's going to be x. Okay, that's our variable. Plus the 32GB, or $275, times our y, which is the number of 32GB we get. That's going to equal our total, which is $1,000. Okay? Well, now, the next question, so first of all, here's our equation that we have. It's a standard form equation, okay? Pretty easy to write in standard form. So now we want to know what's the greatest number of students that can receive an iPod. Well, let's stop and think about this here. Okay, the greatest number of students that could receive an iPod. Well, the more cheap iPods I buy, the more iPods I can get. So if I didn't buy any of the expensive iPods, that's going to maximize how many iPods I can buy with my money. Okay? Because if we buy all cheap iPods, then we're going to get more iPods for our money. So basically what this is asking us is how many 8 gigabyte iPods can we buy if we don't buy any 32 gigabyte iPods. So what this is going to look like is we want to know 190 times what plus 275 times 0, because we're not going to get any of the expensive ones, equals 1,000. That will tell us what's the maximum number of iPods we can buy, because we're getting all cheap ones. So we would get 190x equals 1,000. And then we would have to take 1,000 divided by 190. And we would get x is equal to about 5.2. So the maximum number of iPods that we can get is 5. Okay, so 5 students would get an iPod maximum at $190 a piece. Okay, if we got 6, that would be too much. Well, the least number of students that can receive an iPod, that would be if we bought all the expensive ones. So then we would just do the reverse. We're going to plug in 0 for the cheap ones. Equals 270 times y equals 1,000. And, whoops, that should be plus there, sorry. We're going to get 190 times 0 is 0, so we get 270y equals 1,000. And if we divide 1,000 by 270, then we're going to get about 3.7. Okay? Well, does that mean we're going to be able to get 3 students an iPod or 4 students an iPod? Well, 4 is going to be too much money, so it's going to be 3 students. Okay? So if we get all expensive iPods, all the 32 gigabytes, then 3 students are going to get a prize at our raffle. And if we get the cheap ones, then 5 students are going to get a prize. Okay, so you just have to make an executive business decision there. Alright, and that's it for your lesson on standard form. Good luck on your homework. Happy homeworking.